Master modes are coming. Wait a minute, you already knew that. In my previous video, we talked about master modes and how generally it's changing the game. However, in this video, we're going to talk more specifics, certain keybinds that have changed, as well as some keybinds that have been put into addition, like that option to turn off that 30-meter limiter. We will not go over every single keybind and every single change in this video. However, we will hit the largest ones that seemingly affect us the most in the new patch. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank Yo Busy Bee. He left a comment on my previous video and gave me the idea to do this one. So thank you very much, and hopefully this answers your questions. And away we go. Here we are in our trusty Drake Herald. As previously mentioned, when you first call your ship in, you will find it in SCM guns. You will see upon takeoff that we are limited to 30 meters per second. You could set a keybind toggle to turn that on and off. Here is where you'll find it. Flight, movement, and at the very bottom, automatic precision mode. I set mine to the comma button. You will see as soon as I hit the button, our 30-meter limiter is no longer affecting us, and I still have the landing gears deployed. By default, flying in your ships will be more shaky now. You can adjust these options as well. You can adjust the vibration by going into game settings. Near the bottom, there will be new sliders for G-force induced head movement, G-force induced head bob, G-force induced afterburn, and global camera shake. It'll look like this if you turn all of these options down to 0. Let's talk gimbals. This is what your cursor looks like by default, and the fire rate is pretty fast. If you hit the G button, then your cursors will slightly change, and your fire rate is going to be slower. For example, in the default mode, it takes me just over 18 seconds to deplete the batteries of the Badgers. In the alternate mode, it takes me just over 25 seconds to deplete the battery. So what is going on here? The alternate mode is actually manual mode for the gimbals. If we select the left Alt G button, nothing will change until we hit the G button again to put it in the alternate crosshairs. Now the crosshairs are moving around following the mouse, and so are the laser repeaters. Hitting G toggles it back out of manual, and we're back to how things normally are. It currently seems like the auto-gimbal mode is not working in this patch. I briefly looked around and I couldn't find anyone who successfully was able to use auto-gimbal modes. If you were able to get the auto-gimbal modes to work, please let me know in the comments down below. Now, the throttle might be a little confusing to try to explain, so I'll do my best. We're gonna look at the keybinds first. We're gonna go to flight and movement, and just a little bit down the way, we see a couple of things here. One, we see that cruise mode is left Alt C by default, but as well, decoupled mode is also left Alt C. But this cruise mode has also been referred to as sticky throttle, and you'll see why in a moment. I also want to point out that the throttle trim release, both the long and the short press, are both automatically default bound to X as well. The standard default throttle is what we're already used to. There's a limiter, and your speed will not go above that limiter. The difference here is that even if you set your limiter into the red, you will not be able to go that high because we are in SCM mode, which, if you remember, limits our speed. If we hit left Alt C, it does take us into decoupled mode, but now you notice that instead of the square, we have a half circle, and the throttle has a circle around it as well. If I move forward, it'll go up to the half circle and no further. If I let go of the throttle at this point on my keyboard, we stay where we're at. That is why some people have called it sticky throttle. If I roll down the middle mouse button, I can slow us down, but we are still traveling at speed. If I roll back up, it does not stay with us, it stays stuck to where we were last at. Now, some people have stated that if you get out of your seat, you will lose this quote unquote cruise control. So you see we're going at 207 meters per second. I'm going to exit the seat now. Now, if we re-enter the seat, you see we have still kept the speed of 207 meters per second. Now, if I switch back into coupled mode, you see that we still have cruise control on. I am not touching the keyboard or the mouse at this point. If you remember that X button for trim mode, hitting that X button gets us out of that sticky mode and allows us to return back to 0. Whew, okay, I told you those new throttle controls can be a little weird to understand. Once you play around with them a little bit, you'll get the hang of it, or you could just separate cruise mode from decoupled mode, so if you go into decoupled mode, it doesn't trigger it. And the last thing I'm going to cover in this video is about swapping master modes. They have added the ability for you to cancel the swap. In the latest patch note, they have also lowered the shield regen times when swapping operator modes. So for size 1, it's 3 seconds, size 2, it's 4, size 3, it's 5 seconds, and size 4, it is 6 seconds. Whew, there's so much going on in this patch, adventurers. As I said, we're only scratching the surface of what's coming in 3.23. So just like Yo Busy Bee did, if there's anything you would like to see that I did not cover, leave the comment down below. CIG has been working their tails off to try to get this patch live, and I am pretty convinced they're going to launch it this week. So adventurers, I need to get my butt back in the verse. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!